right, welcome to the fourth and final game review of the evening. Up this time is room number 9. If you recall, we did an interview with our good friend John from Manga Gamer about this a few weeks ago. Um, and we went over the game. Like, okay, I'm not going to paper my opinions over this um, pile of plurality. I fucking hated this game. It's by far the worst visual novel I've played from Manga Gamer. I'm like, and I don't want to see that fucking topped. I'm like, once again, uh, this is content descriptors, content warnings, maybe all of them. Like,
all of them except maybe Seizure.
Maybe. Like, okay, yeah. So room number 9 is a mature BL title, Boys Love. And it's basically trying to do a Saw thing. And hell, like, here's Manga Gamer's content warning. This title contains mature content that is not suitable for all audiences, including textual descriptions of drug use, psychological abuse, and suicide, graphic visual and textual descriptions of violence, blood, feces, and coercive sexual situations between adults. Yeah, that's about the sum of things, and these are not to be taken lightly. It kind of became a contest to see how far we could go before we quit. I quit at the end of a chapter. Yeah, that's the feces warning right there. I'm surprised.
Because I didn't play it at all.
Yes, perhaps you are the winner here, Golix.
Yeah, I played all the way to day 5 myself, and I just got tired of it.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. So it's got very extreme situations. Not just a forced enema, but the big problem I had with this game was that last bit, the coercive sexual situations. Because we did talk about this in the interview, and yeah, John, you're technically correct in that these are consensual acts, but only in the technical definition that both these parties are agreeing to do this, because it's either that or the fucking, they're going to die. They are shown a horrible death at the start of things, and it's like, if you don't do these things, then you die. That is under duress, and that's still a crime. Not their crime, but it's still a violation of consent issues. If not in the letter, but certainly in the spirit. These two people don't want to be fucking each other. It's just they're in the situation where if they don't, in incredibly specific ways, then they're dead. Like, that's about the summation of things. So I guess the other thing is, honestly, outside of that, the game's pretty boring. Because it turns out being affixed to one location with one other person to interact with can get dull. Because, it's not just that you're, Sanji and Daichi are stuck with each other. There's no one, like, there may be other people in other rooms. You're told vague information about that, but they also say there may not be. And it really doesn't matter to the context of the game, because they're not your problem. Like, and as far as your captors go, outside of some very dry directions, there's no interaction there. Like, maybe that's something that eventually no, it's like, I think we did talk about that in the interview. That doesn't really get uncovered, and I don't think it really gets deeper, so to speak. But that doesn't really make an engagement. Like, I suppose the engagement is supposed to be the dialogue, the engagement, the so-called chemistry with these two characters, but they really don't have all that much chemistry together. Yeah, they're not really allowed to because, even though I think Daichi is actually, along the way he's actually developing actual feelings. Yeah, those aren't coming from a psychologically healthy place.
Indeed.
It's like, for you could say that's fucking Stockholm syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
of a sort. So this certainly doesn't work as a love tale. As a pile of fetishes, yeah, sure. I guess if you're into, like face fucking, that is the term that they give for that particular day. Like this is your game. And honestly, you probably already have this. Like, when you get down to it, this is something that's appealing to a very niche, very specific marketplace. And we are not that.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because, we're all straight white guys, but, honestly, this thing is kind of abhorrent. Like, legitimately abhorrent.
There's more to it than this just not being our orientation. This is also just
these are.
I don't like Saw movies.
Yeah, right. I'm not very big on the torture porn stuff either.
Like, even if it's sexual torture and not violent torture, it's still torture.
Yeah, I don't like any fetishes that deal with bodily fluids. Like urine, shit. No, fuck no. I didn't ever want to fucking see that shit. And in fairness, you can turn that off. Mm-hmm. But honestly, then it's like, what's the point? Because these things, like these scenes, they go on for like a good half an hour sometimes. Like, they're the good chunk of the game. And I guess you might still get the textual descriptions, but I'm going to be honest, I don't think you're playing it for that. and this really is falling under, for all of its off-the-wall kinks, it's falling under some conventional wisdom of porn titles. You're not really playing a porn thing, or you're not really doing experiencing a porn thing for its story. It's the plot's expected to. Granted, okay, this is a bit more character driven, but it doesn't really work as any sort of romance. Like, not in my estimation. It doesn't really work as anything other than a pile of fetishes. And yeah, it's like, I'm either not into those things, or, I like fuck coercive situations. Like, that's just bad mojo. Okay. In terms of the graphics, the visuals are good, I guess. Like, I guess the guys are hot enough. Like, I'm not a good evaluator of these kinds of things. Like, the graphics look fine. The sound, the music's okay. You're gonna want to mute the sound or not, because this, these sexual
something not want to be overheard.
Yeah, I'm like, you will hear the erotic moaning. And yeah, if you're in the presence of company or whatever, or it's like, you're probably not going to want to wake them up with that. I'm like, so the game is also clocking in at $30. It is fully voice acted, in the sense that there are 2 voice actors. And like I said, it's on the higher end of production values. At $30, like I said, if you're into this shit, you've already plunked your money down. You probably already have this. For an outsider to the genre, I'd say do not apply. Now, it's like there's too much question. It's like there's too much stuff that's probably not going. Like if you're not into gay sex, or torture porn, or transgressive situations, yeah, you're gonna want to look elsewhere.
Indeed.
Good. And I'm also going to. It's not kink shaming when the kink is fucking illegal and should be illegal. Like coercion is horrible, okay? And should not be practiced. And no, domination is not coercion because I don't really have time to get into the differences here.
Because there's mutual consent involved.
Yeah.
In a healthy
sadomasochistic.
Not necessarily sadomasochistic, but in a healthy dominant submissive relationship, in a lot of ways the submissive calls the shots in terms of what they're okay with and when and stuff like that.
Right. This is not that. This is these are people who are being forced to have sex, or they will die. That we send people to prison for that. Generally. So no, that I cannot condone that. Even if you're into enema fetishes or whatever, it's still being done because they are being forced to do that, or they die, or they get harmed. Even worse, just the consequences are worse. That's how that works. And as far as the rest of the game, yeah, it's kind of dull. And so got to go thumbs down on this on principle. And what about the rest of you guys?
Similar boat.
Yes.
I mean, I doubt I would have made it past the first day in terms of physical stuff because I really can't do torture and stuff. So,
okay, that is understandable. So that's where we stand on room number 9. Well, maybe the next visual novel will be less, less dodgy with the crimes. Like, or if they are crimes, they're not crimes that I will feel very uncomfortable about. All right, so that'll about do it for not just our review here, but the review session. The week ahead, coming up on Wednesday, September 23rd. So we're in one of those situations where the company has confirmed, but they haven't confirmed a representative to us yet. So it's TBA of Cradle Games. They are the creators of Hellpoint. Which is a recent Soulsborne type of game that got released a few months back. I know. Yeah, we have another portmanteau genre developing. Well, it's like you better find a better name for it than Soulsborne, or Soulsborne is going to stick.
I think a lot of people go Souls-like, and I know that Bloodborne is different in some ways, but also, aren't they like all by the same people, the canonical ones?
Yes, but they're still calling them Soulsborns.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like Metroid and Castlevania weren't by the same people.
I'm not the one who makes these things up, but yes, they're all done by From Software. And if we were really continuing on the lineages, we should be working Sekiro into that. But anyway, so we'll be talking about Hellpoint on Wednesday. Not sure who yet. Hopefully I'll find out on Monday. No Friday show, so that's about it. Until Wednesday, I shall wish you good gaming.